What's up, YouTube fam? It's the NOB, the number one boomer, coming with you again. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Before we get started, I really would appreciate if y'all show the old man some love and hit that subscribe button. I appreciate y'all coming back here to spend some time with me again. So without further ado, we're going to get right into it. As you can see, we have again RandoNautica. And this was a few days ago. I decided to do another mission. Very intrigued by this app. So I decided to do another mission, and I am going to, you let me know if this is something negative or positive. I'm not really sure what to say, or if it's just more mysterious. I did not have an intent set on this particular mission. And I'm going to read off some of the information here. So this was just random. I definitely didn't have a negative intent. So I wasn't looking for anything dark per se. I just let it generate what it generated. And what it ended up giving me was it had a Z-score of 4, and it had a power rating of 6.6, and it was the power rating that I guess that ultimately caused me to decide to go ahead and just take this particular mission, because I'll generate random, I just run the program just to see, what it generates. And if it comes to a certain number, if it hits a certain Z-score or a certain power, typically the power, if the power is pretty high, I would say 5 and above, and the Z-score is approaching, 5 or above, I'll typically, look at those more closely and decide whether or not, they're safe to go on, depending on where they are. I think safety is key, definitely, when you are working with this app and you're doing, we're doing RandoNautica stuff. Definitely you need to be safe out there. I would not take this. I see a lot of people, the people that do RandoNautica videos, they refer to this as a game. I don't refer to this as a game. This is pretty serious stuff. I think it does have a spiritual connection and implications that should be taken seriously. Like I said before, this is not something that I take lightly. But as I said before, this one had a Z-scores of 4, power score 6.6. Anything, as you can see over here, typically, once you get around 5 or above, it, usually indicates it's something supposedly significant there. So I decided to take this one, and against my own advice, I should have requested somebody come along with me on this one, because this was probably, I'd say, a half mile or so into the woods, maybe a little bit more, half mile, maybe 3/4 miles of a mile into the woods. So, but anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. And like I said before, I'm not sure I'll probably just narrate over this and just show the video, and just let the video run. I have several clips here that we're just going to go through, and you tell me what you think happens here. So I get to the spot, and it's probably 2 miles away from my house, 2 to 3 miles away from my home. It's in probably a 40-acre cluster of just purely wooded area, just along the lake. I'd say probably 40 to 50 acres, maybe about 50 acres. And it's pretty dense. But as usual, I needed to find a place to park. I'm going to let the video start playing here. And I'm probably going to just fast forward through some of these spots here. I'm just kind of getting out. But I decided to park it's like seemed like an electrical station here. I was hoping I could be able to pull my vehicle down and park in here, but I'm not sure if you saw it earlier, but it was kind of gated, so I couldn't get all the way down here to park. So I just kind of parked where it was and just started walking. As you can see, this is the power grid here. Just making my way through. You see the pines here. And so before I got here, just looking at Google Maps, it looked like I could hopefully, I didn't know the condition of the power, just the clearing, you know, the clearing that they clear out and they run power lines through the woods, and they'll just kind of keep that cleared to some degree. They'll keep it cleared. Every so often they'll come and cut it. So I was hoping that the clearing, or that what do you want to call it? The right of way, the easement for the power company that they keep, maintained to a certain degree, hadn't grown up too much since the last time they cut it. But I'm going to let this footage roll. So I'm making my way to that easement, the power line easement or clearing that they keep cut for the power lines. That was my decision, or, on how to navigate to get to the point that I was looking for. And as you can see, I might let the sound play for a little bit. This is the clearing. I'll let the sound play. So it's about a quarter mile that way. What do y'all think? So this is a clearing, and I have to make my way through it. So this is what we're up against already. A little bit more daunting than I had initially anticipated, but I'm going to just preface this. I can't say it enough. When you go on these adventures, try to take somebody with you just in case. I didn't do that in this case. Fortunately, nothing bad happened to me, or I didn't need any help or assistance. But this is, you never know where RandoNautica can lead you. So just be careful out there. And so this is an overview. We'll give it a shot. Right. We'll give it a shot. I was close to turning around and just abandoning the mission. I really was. I said, let me go down in it somewhat, a distance, and just see how it doesn't get too thick. Right. As long as it didn't get too thick, I was gonna give it a go. And just, like I just said, if it didn't get too thick, I was gonna go on with it. But if it got too thick, I was gonna abandon mission. We'll be careful. And I'm going to let me see if I can cross this. This looks like maybe a creek or something. If I can't cross this, then this is going to cut it short. And there's a lake to the left. It's screen left, probably I'd say a mile to the left. Heads out to the lake. So I didn't encounter running into a creek area. Luckily, it was pretty dry. So, but I should have, kind of foreseen that, since it was so close, I guess, to the lake. But anyway. Okay. Well, it looks like I can make it across. So I am going to Just, all right, I'm going to make my way to the point. As you can see, there's a bit of a ways to go, so I'll check back in just a few minutes. All right, so that was the end of that clip. We're going to move to the second clip. Okay, I seem to have made my way out of the thicket. And thankfully, I guess I was kind of already somewhat in the mode of having to traverse some difficult terrain with the last video that I posted. I mean, that was actually thicker, particularly with, a lot more thorns, and it was just a lot more dense than this particular trail here that I happened to find. So things appear to be working in my favor. And I was going to cut through the woods because the woods aren't actually that too dense as opposed to going through all this thicket, but it looks like just off to the edge of the woods, it's pretty clear. Let me show. Looks like some trails here for the most part. Probably deer trails. Okay. This is the way we're supposed to go. You see this arch here coming up. All right, so here we go. This is one of those moments where it appears that, I don't know, I don't want to say this. There's some kind of visual indicators when you start getting near the location or along your way, at least from my perspective, that it's kind of RandoNautica's way of telling you or telling me you're going the right direction. Okay, this is it. So these archways of trees or little limbs or something look like little archways and doors or something, just kind of directing me to go, to continue on the way that I'm going. It looks like I'm supposed to pass through this archway. But I've noticed that with pretty much all the adventures or missions I've been on so far, there's something, whether it's a tree. All right, I'm going to check my map. That's acting as a bridge. I'll get back with you guys in just a bit. Or some stumps that are indicating, this is the way in. It just seems to always appear to be something there to guide me through that. Okay, let me go. That was the end of this clip. Let me go to this next clip. I'm still making my way to the point. Looks like another archway here. It's like maybe a series of archways. Still probably have another, I don't know, quarter mile to go, eighth mile, I say. Eighth mile, quarter mile to go. What is that? Now this is where it starts to get a little interesting, because I hadn't gotten to the point yet. So, I just see this off to the side here, caught my attention, but later on, as you can see, not as you can see, but later on, as we get into the videos, this is going to kind of come back around again, and we'll see what happens. What is that?
do y'all think that is? Is that... My brother was big into hunting, and I guess I'm wondering if that's a deer stand or something. But it doesn't look like it's... Looks like it's suspended from the trees and not on a tree like a deer stand normally would be.
And like I get, and again, this is starting to get a little... I kind of blew that off. I blew that off. Just thought it was something hunting related and just kept it moving. And I might just forward through a little bit of this. I'm just making my way on through. This almost looks like bedded areas or something. I don't know if deer, maybe bed down. Some of these areas that are kind of flattened out. It's another archway. Right. Another archway. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I'm just making my way through.
All right, I'm going to check my map.
Check my map. Okay, I'm going to the next clip.
Okay, I'm in the woods now. I'm cutting in towards the location. I'm probably still a couple of 100 yards out. Seeing pathways through here.
And the only reason, I'm just letting y'all know, I'm not usually one to go out in the woods by myself per se. Even though I grew up in the country and I, spent a lot of times out in the woods, most of the time it was with someone or a group of friends. But just being out in the woods by myself, I'm not big into that. But, it was a beautiful day. It's winter time, so the leaves pretty much gone. You can kind of see through. The vision is a lot higher, so that's one of the reasons I just decided to go along with this mission, because I felt like my visibility was pretty high. Again, it's isolated enough that I should have brought somebody along with me. I would say probably the nearest house away from me is, I don't know, quarter of a mile, half a mile away, so, it's not too, I'm in the South, but the city where I am, it's not too country, but you can get, there's pockets of woods and stuff, and I'm not far from getting on out in the deep rural area per se, but just giving you some context to, just me. And, this is definitely something outside of what I would normally do. I wouldn't normally be walking out in the woods like this.
The lake is that way. So let me see if I can find
So I guess what I'm saying is the old man is putting in work for the RandoNauts out there. So y'all show the man some love. Like I said, and subscribe if you're still watching at this point.
Pathway that kind of gets me.
But I started seeing some pretty decent pathways running through here.
Location, and here's a pathway. Look at that. It looks like maybe people ride four-wheelers down through here. It's quiet, very quiet. All right, I'm gonna check my map again.
All right, so I'm gonna go to the next video.
Now, as you can see, there's another
archway.
I guess some people may consider these portals. If you're looking maybe at the spiritual side of things.
All right, this is a short clip here. All right, let me see here.
I have arrived pretty much at the location.
All right,
I've got the green check mark, And let's just start looking around to see.
Right. So I'm here. Yeah, I'm just.
We see. I did not put an intent on this one.
I also want to preface this to say that it had been a few days before I had generated this location, that RandoNautica had generated this location, because I will save locations for a few days. So I want to say the anomaly location may be a little off. I'm just putting this out there. If you save locations, they could shift a little bit. It seems like from the time you entered it until the time you make the trip. That's what I'm kind of feeling at the moment. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe maybe that's just me.
I'm not sure what it is.
But I wasn't finding anything when I got to the actual point per se. At least nothing that I could visually see. All right, that's the end of that video. But as you know, RandoNautica works in the radius. So maybe it could be that as the more time lapses from the time RandoNautica generates the point, you may need to consider that the radius may have moved a little bit, or shifted, or expanded, or maybe you need to expand your radius a little bit.
I have arrived pretty much at the location. I've got the green check mark, and let's just start looking around to see what we see. I did not put an intent on this one, so I'm not sure what it is that may come of this.
All right, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. This is just me looking around. Let me know if y'all saw something that I didn't see. I didn't see anything. I got a couple more clips left. Is this?
I have arrived.
That's the
pretty
same
much at
clip.
the location. I've got the green check mark.
All right, that's the same clip.
And let's just start looking around to see what we see. I did not put an intent on this one, so I'm not sure. Okay, I'm just still looking around. I'm not seeing anything that stands out. I don't know if I was recording or not. There was a mound back here. To me, it just looked like a dirt mound covered in leaves. I don't particularly see anything that would say, like, not that I'm looking for dead bodies, but something may be buried there. I'm not feeling that. It looks like, actually, when I look at it, it looks like there's maybe at one point in time there's some clearing. It looks like almost like a little roadway came to an end there. So maybe some bulldozer or something years back kind of just pushed this up.
I thought I heard something.
Like I hear something.
I did. Okay.
I thought maybe I heard something coming through the woods, but it was just the wind. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna make my way on out. Take this trail, like again here, it's coming off the trailway. It looks like it, maybe whoever's clearing the path there at one point in time just pushed some dirt off over there. So,
okay, now at this particular point, this is where things start going off the rails a little bit.
I don't see anything odd about that.
I'm just making my way out at this point.
Oh, here's some.
I thought there was a vehicle that I thought was coming down the path, so I was gonna hide, but there was not really any place to hide per se. So I said, well, let me just stay here and be visible then. And so, but my first instinct was just to hide because I just
seemed like a vehicle went by. don't think it was a train, but it was a large vehicle.
I'm gonna forward a little bit.
Oh, there's a roadway up there. Oh, this just, see, there's, like I said, there was a neighborhood over there, so looks like another gravel road that's running parallel. At least.
But that freaked me out because it was like a big truck that I saw kind of, or a big vehicle that I saw kind of. It almost looked like it was moving through the woods or moving down this path right
here. I thought
here.
it was coming down the trail,
and it was just, I don't know, it just looked. It just looked a little spooky moving. I guess I was a little spooked out, you know, just
make my way
on edge,
on back.
But this, I'm just making my way on back, turn into a nature walk.
Trail here. Just.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Okay, now this is where it really. We getting back to this
nice place to park. Get down to
box again. This box that,
but guys,
you know, early in the video when we were making our way up towards the spot, if you can remember that box that I thought was maybe a tree stand. All right, now watch this.
You know, when you come on these, oh no, it's, you know, when you come on these, missions, you know, I would highly advise you to, you know, maybe bring somebody with you. Okay, now here's this box again. We'll walk at this box. Let's get a closer look and see if we can determine what this really is. I guess I'm wondering, is this a bird box or a bee box? Cart. Oh no, it's a mailbox. What in the world? Okay.
So at this point, I'm kind of speechless. I don't know what's going on here. You know, I know RandoNautica is on me heavy at this point. So it starts to get a little serious.
What? This isn't. Wait. This isn't an active mailbox. This is somebody hung this mailbox.
I don't know, fam. You tell me. You tell me.
And if you look over here, oh my goodness, what in the world? What have I stumbled upon? Look at this. What in the world have I stumbled upon? Look at this. And there's a mailbox over there. Are y'all? I don't know what to say about this. What? All right. Obviously, someone has been here. I mean, look at this. They've made, it's like some kind of dog, or this looks like window motors. Very, very odd.
And there's more.
Look at this.
I didn't.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I did not
go see
the full extent of
other things
of this
throughout the woods over here. What in the world is going on? Guys, there's a trail that comes through here.
And this is not a neighborhood trail. There is a house that's probably, I don't know, a couple of 100 yards, a single house, and maybe they were responsible for all this. But when I saw this trail, it just made me believe that there was more to it than just, there wasn't just something that they did, that there was more to it. It just seemed like it was much bigger than something that they would have done themselves. And like I said, it was just kind of one house, maybe a couple of 100 yards, 200 or 300 yards away. But the next neighborhood is probably a half mile from here. So this is not, just something or some place that random or normal neighborhood activity is occurring. This is not a normal walking trail.
A door? We got doors? We got
someone I showed this to said that they see a face in this, and I guess maybe I do see a face, maybe some lips, a nose, or I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm kind of blown away at this point. I mean, someone has taken benches. This is not. Someone has taken these benches from, I guess, stolen them from a park somewhere. I mean, they've made a whole.
More of these bottles in the bench.
They've made a whole thing out of this.
Looks like there's slides over here.
And there are no children over here playing, and not even close.
I mean, this is a bit odd.
There is nobody,
more of these bottles
around to warrant this type. Except for a second, I thought I saw some movement through the woods, but
I don't know what to say. Maybe this bench is so it must be a trail, but
it's. And these are apparently more benches that someone has stolen and has set up out here. And there's a whole, if you look,
all right,
just there, where my mouse is pointing, there are more bottles and, things, back here. So like I said, I didn't explore the full extent of it. Maybe I should, but I felt like I was getting in a little too deep. And I just, for safety reasons, I decided to cut it short.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. I'm not sure.
And of course, this box here,
going on here.
I was really, I was scared to open this thing, but
tool?
I could not, avoid it. I felt like I had to open it. So
I'm scared to,
based on just all the other, or not all the other, but a lot of RandoNautica videos I found, I was just at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if I opened this thing and found a body. I didn't know, but I just knew I had to open it and find out.
what's in here?
Fortunately, there was nothing crazy in here.
All right, so oh, this is just odd. This is very odd because the neighborhood is probably a half mile away.
like I said, at this
So
point,
I'm just gonna.
I didn't want to get in too deep.
That was very interesting. So apparently, I guess maybe that's what RandoNautica was. The power, the anomaly power, Z power that it found. You know, at this point, I gather that whatever programming that goes into RandoNautica and how it locates does quantum entropy and finds power anomalies. And basically, I'm thinking that just means it finds its spiritual energy, okay? So we're all capable of leaving spiritual energy just in things that we do, okay? So, and somehow it's able to detect that. All right, looks like this is where.
And I'm just going to cut it there and just at the same time, you know, expound upon a little bit from what I'm saying. If this app appears to, like I said, find and detect spiritual entity or spiritual imprints. And what I mean by that, I mean an imprint can be made by anyone when you have put enough of your spirit into whatever it is you're doing. You can generate. That's kind of why I think that, you know, when you run RandoNautica searches, sometimes you'll see points show up at people's houses, you know, in people's backyards, in the house. You know, it's potentially because whoever is there is generating, you know, a significant amount of concentrated spiritual energy. I mean, it has to be intentional energy, not just random, you know, mundane energy per se. You know, it has to have some, like RandoNautica has shown us, some kind of power factor associated to, in order for it to be enough to be relevant and noticed in the power grid per se. So with that being said, we're all capable of leaving these spiritual imprints, and those imprints can be identified by RandoNautica, by the universe, by, you know, RandoNautica. So what I'm saying is that, you know, if I put my, you know, some energy, you know, significant spiritual energy towards them, if I went out in the woods and constructed a fort or tree house or something, or, you know, I put my time and effort and my spiritual energy towards building something or doing something or performing some kind of act, then that particular is going to leave an imprint, a spiritual power imprint in the universe that RandoNautica could potentially detect. So, and case in point, I'm going to just, you know, I went walking the other day, and, you know, I was pretty, and I've been pretty intentional lately. So I guess starting off this new year, it seems like I have somehow or another been blessed to feel very energized. But the other day, you know, I noticed when I went for a walk, I decided to search, pull up RandoNautica while I was walking and search for just to see what was going to pop up. And lo and behold, the power location that it gave me was was my location. I mean, that's proof that we all have the potential to resonate and generate enough spiritual power to be noticed, or for it to be significant enough for RandoNautica to show and locate. So that's just my 2 cents. That's what I'm finding so far. So anyway, I think that's gonna do it for this particular episode. I think I've gone on long enough, probably longer than I should have. I appreciate y'all for stopping by once again, spending time with the old man. Like I said before early on, show me some love. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, and until next time, I love y'all, man. Peace.